presidents to represent me. I'm out for presidents to represent me.
Do you know about Darfur? Well, the Youth Channel feels that the mainstream media isn't addressing this modern-day crisis. So we hit the streets and asked New Yorkers their opinion.
The crisis in the Darfur region of Sudan is getting increasingly severe.
Darfur, it's been called a genocide in
Sudanese
slow
government
motion.
is resisting pressure to allow a UN force which might
U.S.
save
Secretary of
lives.
State Colin Powell has called it genocide. Sudan.
Over 200,000 people have died and over 2 million people are now
The
refugees.
Janjaweed militia, which is carrying out what the Americans have called a genocide, is trained, armed and supported by that government.
I've never heard of it. Never even heard of it before.
Really?
No.
A lot of bad stuff happening there. It's like in Africa, and it's like I just know, I don't know like a lot about it. I know like I have like a general knowledge of it.
It's a country under suppression right now, where it's really, people don't have any rights and people are trying to escape, and that's all I know.
Genocide
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah,
going
genocide.
on, terrible things, yeah.
What do you know about Darfur?
I only know it is a country, nothing more, nothing else.
Did you hear anything about in the news about Darfur at all?
No, because, no, I have no idea. No idea.
Well, what if I told you Darfur was a city in a country called Sudan, and there's a whole mass killing of different kinds of people? It's happening right now.
I know that there's a genocide going on. I'm not very up to date on the current affairs or what the political strife is about.
Genocide. People destroyed, family, parents killed, the lost boys. I know all about it, I read books on it.
Over the last 5 years, hundreds of black African villages in Darfur have been burnt down. An estimated 300,000 people are dead. More than 2 million people have been driven from their homes. Most of them are black Africans. President Bashir says this is a legitimate attempt to put down a regional rebellion.
What is genocide?
Like they're trying to kill off a whole certain race or something like that?
It's basically just like a mass killing, I think, of people for kind of no reason. I mean, like the Holocaust kind of thing with the Jews. It's just people with big prejudices and taking them out on people for not really a good reason.
Systematic murder based on ethnicity, with the intent to cleanse, you know?
Genocide, just killing for the sake of killing. The Holocaust was a genocide because people were Jews instead of being something else. That's a genocide. And so Darfur is also a genocide.
Tonight on Frontline.
The Janjaweed sweep in, killing all the men, raping women.
The tragedy in Darfur.
We have many reports of babies being killed. The brutal barbarism is almost beyond description.
For years, despite bold declaration,
genocide has been committed in Darfur.
The world's great powers failed to stop the killing.
The UN, as a means of preventing genocide, cannot do the job.
Darfur just isn't important enough to anybody.
But some said never again.
There is a movement in the United States that is unprecedented historically.
There are things we all can and must do to stop it.
Never again, we once promised, yet it is happening again as the world stands by.
Tonight, what happened to Darfur on our watch?
Have you seen anything in the media portraying anything about Darfur?
Like next
No.
to never.
Yeah.
No, it's never on TV or anything.
Usually very rarely.
No, and that's why I was surprised when I heard you guys mentioning it, because I do watch the news in the evening and I flip back and forth to different major stations.
No, I don't remember seeing anything in the news.
I haven't heard much about it now. Recently, I haven't heard much about it.
You just don't see it on any of the major networks. It's shocking to me how little coverage there is, you know, in the U.S. at least, in the mainstream media. But the fact that that has become not only normal but accepted, I think is one of the scariest aspects of domination.
NBC, we want more! Tell the world about Darfur! NBC, we want more! Tell the world about Darfur!
As a rabbi and as a former reporter, I find it appalling that NBC is really falling down on the job and not doing what it needs to be doing in terms of telling the world about the genocide that's happening in Darfur. And it's the responsibility of journalists, of NBC, to live up to their responsibility as journalists and tell the world about what's happening there.
When did you start hearing about Darfur?
Probably about a year ago. I saw a movie and there was like this big preview of a documentary about it. So
yeah, it's been a few years for me too. I mean, kind of recently, probably a year or two.
I just saw the personalities at the Oscars speaking out against Darfur, and I really haven't heard that much about it on mainstream news. So I don't. Even though I listen to news probably a good 6 hours a day, I really haven't heard anything about Darfur except for people who are protesting that they haven't heard that nothing's being done.
When I heard most about it, I heard on the news, and I also heard about like in music. I listen a lot to music, and I hear, Green Day had a song about it, stuff like that, and I heard it. That's where I heard more about it. It wasn't much on the news. It was more like in the music, to be honest with you.
They shot some of them on their heads.
Working class hero is something to be.
We're hunting them like somebody hunting rabbits.
When they tortured and scared you for 20-odd years, then they expect you to pick a career when you can't really function, you're so full of fear.
Not really. I see clips, like some actors, like I said, on Cheadle, Ben Affleck, and George Clooney, from time to time. You see them in People magazine and they'll mention something. Either they're raising awareness or, funds or something for Darfur, but nothing really in the mainstream media that focuses on it. I haven't seen that in a while.
Enough is enough. Since 2003, the conflict in Darfur has led to some of the worst human rights abuses.
Darfur now.
Do not be silent. Do not stand by watching. Darfur now.
Please raise your voices in letting the
international community know. We want an end to the conflict in Darfur.
Darfur now.
We will use our voices to do what's right.
We will persist.
You are not forgotten.
Enough is enough.
Add your voice to help a family return to their home.
In peace.
In peace.
Darfur now.
Do you think that the media should know more about what's happening in Darfur and let us know?
Yes, they're telling you about Britney Spears and everybody else, which I really could care less about. I think they should focus on more important things and making us better educated on what's taking place outside of our box.
I think it should be put more in the news. It should be more like worldwide. People should know more about it because it's something that's obviously affecting people. And if we want to achieve global peace, we should really we should bring this, show people this problem. We should try to work to solve it.
وإنه في ظلم بالذات في دارفور عامة وإنه يجي سلام ويكون الأمن مستتيب زي ما كان في الشرق يكون
I believe that America has the obligation to lead, to act, and I am gratified by organizations all over America, young people all over America who have acted to goad our government and other governments to act to stop this genocide.
The United States has a moral obligation anytime you see humanitarian catastrophes. We are the most powerful nation on earth. We have the most stake in creating a order in the world that is stable and in which people have hope and opportunity. And when you see a genocide, whether it's in Rwanda or Bosnia or in Darfur, that's a stain on all of us. That's a stain on our souls.
Hopefully this piece has made you realize that there are horrible things occurring in Darfur, and that as citizens of the world, it is our duty to help in any way we can. You can start by encouraging your elected officials to fight for peace in Darfur. And on this election day, make sure your candidate makes Darfur an issue they care about. Vote for peace. Vote for Darfur.